The Blades Ramble is proudly sponsored by My Business Group, a group of brands designed to support owners, leaders and managers in business. Contact mybusinessgroup.co.uk for more information or follow the link in the description below.
Blades fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
What is happening, Blades? And welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I am, of course, Jimmy, and this is 10-minute transfers. We are back to discussing individual player links. This time it's Lewis Koumas from Liverpool, and the name may ring a bell with older Blades, me included, that remembers us being linked long-term with his dad, Jason Koumas, who was a centre midfielder and a very good player in the EFL. So, yeah, we never quite crossed paths with... He was the Lewis O'Brien before Lewis O'Brien was around. So, in terms of long-term Blades links, they never really come off, to be honest. John Swift were another one. There's loads of Blades. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is one of the more high-profile ones that Sheffield United are continually linked with, but nothing ever comes of. So, Lewis Koumas. Thank you for the feedback on our episode yesterday as well, by the way. The 10-minute transfers where we squashed some rumours. This isn't too dissimilar because it is reported by the Mail. Boo. But obviously with the stretch that they have and it being picked up by other areas, it is a long-term link. And again, that sort of makes me a little bit dubious as to whether it will spill over into this new regime. But we're going to go with it anyway. And to let you know exactly what has been said, I've taken this from the 72.co.uk, who linked the Mail's original article, saying that Sheffield United were linked with the player back in January. As per the Daily Mail, United are now said to have retained their interest this summer. That is different to some of the ones we were talking about yesterday, where it's sort of putting two and two together because of previous interest. Those we can forget all about. Koumas, 19, spent last season on loan in the Championship at Stoke. He made 49 appearances, which you can see here, scoring 6 goals and 3 assists. They don't mention that in the article, but we will. It does actually. Chipped him with 6 goals. In this latest update, the Daily Mail suggests the Blades want to lure him back to Bramall Lane. They're in the hunt now for new signings under new coach Ruben Chaes. Wales manager Craig Bellamy told The Guardian last year, with Lewis, every bit I've seen of him, I've just loved. Fearless. He's one of those players who just, every time he has it, you feel like something's going to happen, something positive happens. They're the players you would love to coach or you'd love to just go and watch. I'm sure he would have looked at Aaron Ramsey for a number of years as well now, obviously the Welsh connection. Now he gets to see what elite really looks like in a character like Aaron. I'd like to believe that he's going to develop into a player like Lewis quicker. Sheffield United could see Koumas as someone to boost their attacking ranks. Could. United will be aiming for promotion from the second tier again in the next campaign after losing in the playoffs. All right, we'd have to read that. The Wales international has 6 caps to his name so far. Started his career at Tranmere. He then switched to Liverpool as a youngster and hasn't looked back since. He's been a regular for the Reds at various different youth levels to date. He's also played once for the first team before he's moved to Stoke City and scored in an FA Cup tie against Southampton. United boss Sellers will be looking to put his own stamp on his newly inherited squad over the next couple of months with some reinforcements. United have picked him as their replacement for Chris Wilder. The Blades' chances of securing Koumas' signature will depend on what Liverpool's plans are next for him. He's due to report back to Anfield for pre-season following the end of his temporary stay at Stoke, and they'll be considering his options. So, interesting that not a direct link, just rumoured links through the Daily Mail, not the most reliable, but in case that's why I've put it as low, to be honest. It's another one for me that doesn't... It's a young player, possible high ceiling, that we haven't necessarily seen already. But possible high ceiling. Only 19. We talked about this when we were talking about like Ash Phillips and Alfie Devine and similar players like that. I'm not sure he could come in and make a superb impact straight away. Transfer market, looking at what they've got on him, he's in contract. He doesn't tell you when his contract expires, actually, but clearly it will be in contract. He's a left-sided winger. That's where he's best. That's where he's played for Stoke for the majority of the season. So this is where it says to me, if we are going for this type of player, Gus Hamer will be moved inside. I don't think it means he's being sold. Don't worry about that. I'm convinced he stays. But looking at the heat map and things like that that is shown on SofaScore, because FotMob don't have these statistics, it's decent. It's decent. His stats, not great. Not great in terms of overall play. He hasn't pulled up any trees. I mean, he's 6 goals from a wide position, not bad. You'd want more assists from a high-end winger. As I say, he's long been rumoured with United, but is it another case of, if we're signing him permanently, brilliant because he's got a huge upside. I'm not convinced these players, players that we've been linked with so far, Alfie Devine, Ash Phillips, are ready for top-end championship. I'm not convinced they are. I'm just going to see if we can see any other stats on him, but it's difficult to get because all there we go. So the championship assists 2 in the championship. Should have got more according to the expected assists. Should have scored more goals. Should have scored more than 5 goals in the championship. He got 3. This is just in the league, obviously. So successful dribbles, 33%. Looking at these statistics, I mean, he wins 2/3 of his tackles. He only wins 1/3 of his duels. Oh, his stats are pretty poor, to be honest. 5 yellow cards. There might be a huge upside to this kid. He is only 19. This is playing in the championship at 19 years old. We looked at a telling sign for me is we looked at City Pec's stats for last season, and they don't jump off the screen at you. They don't make you think, wow, what a player. And it doesn't tell the whole story. Let me just see what his FA Cup... in the FA Cup, he's got 2 goals, which is much more than he's expected. He won't expect 0.33 expected goals. So he's done well in the FA Cup. But again, in the league, where it matters, where we will be looking for an impact, I don't know the opposition, or Cardiff. They drew 3-3 with Cardiff in this particular game. And he's got 2. But I'm not convinced. I'm trying to be positive about all of these links, and I'm not convinced that there's a lot of legs to it anyway in terms of the Daily Mail. But he can play on the right. He's predominantly a left winger. He's a right footer, so cuts in. Maybe if you play him on the right, you'll get a few more crosses in and maybe a few more assists, but he clearly likes to tuck inside like we've been doing with Gus and Raksaki last year as well. Lewis Koumas, what are we saying? The pedigree is there in terms of his dad were a great footballer, footballing family. I love a connection like that. But the pedigree comes from being at Liverpool. We have had a bust from Liverpool before. We cannot forget that. I would be interested if we can get him in for a low fee permanently. If it's a loan, he's not pulled up any trees at Stoke. 6 goals is decent, but let's have a look in the championship. How many goals has he got in the champ? What did we say? 3 goals in the champ, when he was expected to get more than 5. So he was expected to assist more than he did as well. 2 assists in the championship. It's not good. It's not a good record. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed, and I'm not excited by it. That's just my honest opinion. If he comes, I will support him like we do with any other signing that comes in. But I have to. I'll always be honest, and I'm not a fan of this one. If, as I say, if it's a low fee permanent, I can get on board with it. If it's a loan, I'm going to be concerned, and I'm not going to be impressed. But we'll see, won't we? If anything comes and gets a little bit closer, we'll let you know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Sorry to be a little bit more negative Nelly about this one, but you just have to go with what you know. And whenever I've seen him, which is the eye test, which I put a lot on, not been blown away at all. Don't think he impacts games. And the stats, which I'm not a huge stat man, as you know, but the stats read really badly. So let me know what you think. Can you put a positive spin on this for me? Make me think differently. As we've said here, do you reckon he'll Koum-Good? Or do we think he'll be Koumas? Come on, you red and white wizards! Up the blades!